Hey, Mr. Wysong, I'm Emma, and I'm trying to get on a group video chat and logged into Google Hangouts. Would you mind bringing Savannah into our group chat? We have some questions to ask you from our St. James students.
Sure. Sounds good.
All right, Savannah, are you here?
Yeah. Mr. Wysong, how does this work?
Well, what it is a video chat. So basically, you have various people with different accounts. Those accounts are connected probably to some type of a circle. Once those accounts are connected to that circle, you got the ability to chat via video and audio across different devices.
Okay. Will you bring Chelsea and Andrew into the conversation?
Sure. Okay.
All right, so everybody's here now.
Hi,
I have
everybody.
a question from Sabrina in 8th grade for you, Mr. Wysong.
Sounds good. Go ahead.
Will there be training for students on the iPads like you did teachers?
The training for the students won't be as intensive as it was for your teachers. More likely what's going to have to happen is as you are in your classes and as you're learning how to use an app for whatever purpose your teachers want, your teacher is going to have to kind of show you how to use that device, the iPad, and that app for that task that the teacher has planned.
Okay.
And Mr. Wysong, I have another question for you from Maddie in 8th grade. She asked, are our teachers learning or adapting to new things well?
They are. I work with various schools in the county, and St. James is one of those schools. You guys, your teachers have done very, very well in learning how to use the iPad and how to integrate it into what they do every day. So we're looking at different apps that allow students to create different products from their learning. So as opposed to completing a worksheet, maybe you would use an iMovie to make a video project or things like that.
Another question from Aiden Tharrington asks, can we take our iPads home eventually?
It's a great question. Initially, the response to that would be no, but the district is looking at the possibility of letting students take the iPads home. But up front, we're going to keep the iPads at the schools and see how the program goes from there, and then maybe down the road, taking them home will become something that's an option.
Okay.
I have a question from Ziara in 8th grade, and she says, what does a technology integration specialist do?
Great question. One I had myself when I got the job. Basically, my job is to train the teachers and the schools that I visit to integrate technology. Integrate means to blend technology within what they normally do every day.
So that's kind of like the blended learning that they're showing us.
Blended learning and the technology kind of go hand in hand. You can't do one without the other. So I'm at different schools every day of the week, and my job is to train teachers on A, how to use the iPad, and then B, what apps and web resources they can use to bring the technology in to their curriculum to kind of create some more engagement and to give students an opportunity to really create a lot of innovative things that shows the teachers what they've learned.
Okay.
And I have another question from Claire in 8th grade. She wants to know what will the students do that are not really that good with technology? How will they fit into this picture?
It's another good question. And what will probably happen is the teachers will walk through initially how to use the device in the setting that they would want you to use it. So if you walk into a classroom, you're going to use a specific app to complete a task. If you haven't been learned or you haven't been taught, how to use that app yet, then the teacher's going to have to kind of go over that a little bit. But for the most part, everybody in the classroom is probably going to have students who are familiar with the iPad or who are more comfortable with technology than others. These students can then be used as mini leaders and mini teachers, if you wish, and help out those who might not be as comfortable with the device so that that transition from using the device becomes a lot easier for everybody.
Okay, that sounds really cool. And I have another question from Cole in 8th grade, and he asks, isn't it going to cost a lot of money for iPads and charging?
Well, with the charging of devices, within each iPad, when you purchase an iPad, it comes with a charger. So you don't have to worry about buying extra chargers. At the moment, what we're going to do is your administrators are working on a plan to help get the devices back to the class at some part of the day so that they can charge for the next day. That's going to be something decided by Dr. Morgan and your administrative staff, and that way the device will be charged for the upcoming day so that everybody has a charged device. At least that's the initial thought. Now, if the devices ever go home, that charging responsibility will be placed on the students.
But until that they go home, we'll have we're gonna have a charging station somewhere around the school.
Well, there'll be multiple charging stations probably. There'll probably be some in each individual class. We're still kind of working the kinks out with that concept, but at the moment they're looking at trying to put individual charging stations within certain areas at least, and then at some part of the day having the kids turn their iPads in to get charged, and that way they'll be available the next day.
Nina wants to know, what are your responsibilities and the highlights of being a technology integration specialist?
My responsibilities are to prepare the schools that I visit for the use of technology in a instructional or in a classroom setting. So I really don't deal with the inner workings of the technology. If an iPad fixes or if an iPad breaks, I can't necessarily fix it. My job instead is helping teachers and administration understand what's the best way to use the iPad in individual subjects, individual courses, and individual classroom settings. The best part of my job is the fact that, for lack of a better phrase, I get to play with an iPad all day. Obviously, it's not really playing. I use that term loosely. But I do get the opportunity to research a lot of what the device can do, to find out what new apps are capable of, and to share that knowledge with teachers and ways how they can use those apps and those devices in their classroom. And, for me, that's really fun.
Okay, and Anonymous in Miss Boyce's class asks, why can't we use Wattpad?
Why can't you use what?
Wattpad.
Wattpad. Okay. I'm going to be a little ignorant here. I don't know what Wattpad is, but I'm assuming it's another type of a device. So if that's the case, the district office is it an app?
I think it's a reading app.
It's a reading app. Okay. There's going to be an approved app list, and then each app can be reviewed so that those apps can be stored on the device. One thing we want to make sure students understand, initially at least, the devices are really, they're tools. We want to think of the iPad kind of like as an interactive textbook. So as opposed to having a textbook that you have to open and read, which is pretty static, it's not very interactive, the iPad allows you to do a lot more things that are interactive, obviously through the app feature. So apps that are not necessarily on that list would have to go under some type of review process. We do want to make sure that whatever apps are available on the devices that the students are using are apps that are more geared towards education, staying away from obviously the apps that you more commonly hear of, Angry Birds, and such like that. I'm not familiar with Wattpad, but if it's educational based, it is possible that it could be placed on the device.
Okay, thank you for answering some of the students' questions.
Personally, I have a question.
Sure.
Is being a technology integration specialist something that might be a good thing for some students to look into if they're into technology?
I think so. I mean, what you're going to find is that as we move forward into these next upcoming years, technology is going to have a real big role inside education. We're already seeing a large increase in online courses, both in public school settings and in college settings. And so technology education, there's a lot of room for development, but at the same time, it's still kind of a newer concept. So if you're one who likes technology, then looking into a field like this, which is more like an educational technology field, is probably something that you might be interested in. Plus, if you're one who has thought about teaching, but you have a knack for using technology, then this may be a route you want to look into too, because it does allow you to kind of do both of the things that you might like, both teaching and the usage of technology.
Thanks. That's definitely something that a few of the students, especially myself, might be looking into.
Well, that's great to hear. As I'm around the schools, I'm at St. James pretty much every Thursday. So if anybody ever wants to ask me some questions pertaining to the job or what's going on, feel free to stop me in the hallways or anything else like that.
Good. No, I know we'll use that wisely.
That's good.
I have to.
Let me just say. Go ahead.
I think we all learned a lot today, and I'm glad we could contact you.
Well, the wonderful thing too is that you guys recognize this because we've been working on this all morning, but the students may not realize this. You're using the technology right now. You are on iPads, I'm on an iPad, and we are able to have this hangout. And though you're in the building, I'm at the district office, which is all the way in Conway. So right now, this is one way. It does. This is one way that technology could eventually be used in your own classrooms. I mean, think about the implications here. If you're in a science class and you're learning about a scientist or a certain concept like maybe the plant cycle, then maybe you can do Google Hangouts where you actually get to speak with a botanist and talk about what that botanist does every day, and get a real insight as to what his job is and what he has to do on a daily basis that applies to plant life. There's tons of applications of this app and this device that can be extended eventually, of course, into an educational setting in the classroom.
Yeah, some of our teachers have.
And for 8th graders, if they're working on like the NHG project with a partner or anything, they can get on this and actually work on the project without having to be at somebody's house or something.
That is 100% correct. And again, you've got that content extended even further to where you can talk to people who might be directly affected by your National History Day project. So that way you can get some more references and resources that way to apply to your project. But yeah, this is a great tool to use to collaborate back and forth.
Some of our teachers, even like now, already have said that maybe we were going to try to do a virtual classroom over Google Hangouts, and maybe we could do class through the iPads when we get them. When we actually get them, we might be able to do virtual classes.
Well, and two, I mean, obviously no one wants to think about this, but if you ever have to miss a class, like say you're sick or something like that, and you can't make it, then it is theoretically possible that if you had the device, you could kind of hang out, use Google Hangouts to kind of phone in to the classroom, so that way you don't have to miss the class.
This is to announce staff employee of the year award. We have lots of great support staff members. In honor of this year goes to Mr. Mervyn Hayward. Sam, congratulations, Mr. Hayward.
Sorry about that. He's making an announcement.
That's okay.
And we now know who
Mr. Hayward,
the support staff teacher of the year is.
Congratulations, Mr. Hayward.
Well, thank you for answering all our questions. We definitely did learn a lot, like Chelsea said.
Well, it's my pleasure. And thanks for using the device and working with me this morning so we can get this working out. And really excited to get the devices eventually into you and the other students' hands and be able to see the wonderful kind of exhibits of learning that you guys will use with them in your own classrooms. So.
All right. Well, thank you.
That was
All right.
good. All right, that was National Education Week with Mr. Weissong.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.